Okay, well, welcome again for coming into today's presentation. Hope you all having a great day, great week. Hope you are having a fun holiday season as well. I know the holidays are coming up for many. Excuse me, and we're kind of winding down the end of the year to just honestly relax. I like to use these last couple weeks of the year to kind of just unwind, unpack the year. It feels like 2024 has gone by so quick. So yeah, I want to thank you guys for dropping in today's presentation: 5 golden SEO mistakes to avoid and how to fix them. So, and I will let you know today's session is going to be recorded. So, at the end, once it's compiled, I will upload it to YouTube. You'll get a email with a copy of the link, and also I will send out a copy of the slides as well. So, if there's something you may have missed, you can go back and reference it later. But again, appreciate you want to drop in with us. So to get started, first and foremost, let me introduce myself. Is this your first time meeting me? My name is George Woodard. I'm a marketing operations specialist and WordPress developer. All that fancy names mean that anytime an organization needs a website built, supported, managed, primarily in WordPress, but any marketing website built, supported, managed, I'm their go-to guy. I've had one of my clients dub me their web guy, which is also the title of my podcast, plug. So if you're on any other platforms, Google, Spotify, Amazon, your favorite web guy is the name of the podcast. So I offer a lot more digital marketing, SEO related marketing technology in general. Primarily my day to day, I support nonprofits, B2B businesses, and government agencies. Any type of web related marketing technology related work. Again, I'm the go-to guy that helps them out with all of that. So I have my own agency, L Square Media Group. I've been doing this now for over 10 years. It seems like it's just yesterday, but it's been over 10 years. But to not bore you with those details, let's jump into why we are here. First and foremost, bad SEO is a costly mistake. For two reasons. One, SEO is a costly mistake for your marketing. You want to be found, you want to be discovered, you want search engines to recommend your content, your business, your organization, your products, your services, whatever it is. You want to position yourself to be able to be recommended to your audience. Really, the layman's terms of how search engines work is that they have these automated computers going out across the web looking for the websites that have relevant information and indexing it or saving it into this big giant database. And people like you and I, or even folks as your ideal clients, what they do is they go into the database, typing in something they're looking for, and based on the quality of information that your website provides, it will be paired excuse me, with the user who's trying to look for the information they're looking for. That's in layman's terms is what how search engines work. And for you as an organization, a business, if you have products, services, consulting, you're selling t-shirts, you have events, whatever, not optimizing your website or just your marketing altogether can cost you those conversions. People wanting to take advantage of what you offer. And from a money standpoint, you're just literally wasting resources because you're not investing into a proper SEO strategy. And just not even for a one and done thing. SEO is something that you should think long term and continuously. So that's the whole goal of this presentation, is to be more actionable. If you've ever attended any of my presentations, I like to give actionable advice instead of just giving you this fluff. So a lot of the things that you're going to learn today are going to be actionable things that you can do for yourself, for your own website, if you're in charge of the marketing and the marketing website that you have and any of the marketing initiatives. So first and foremost, a problem: slow website. and that equals a bad user experience. From SEO perspective, not websites, but search engines actually penalize websites for having a slow experience. um Anything can cause this, and this is what this slide is referring to. Anything can cause it, and but in my experience, these are the two main culprits. One is third party integrations. um for example, I know a lot of organizations are trying to utilize live chat functionality. Great option to use, great thing to integrate. But what happens is, third-party integrations like that continuously pull on the resources or the power or bandwidth, to make it more relevant, of your website performing. And the more it does that, the slower it takes. Now, in a perfect world, you don't notice it as much, because it's very small, minuscule. But when you start considering adding more and more third-party integrations on top of that, you have your live chat. If you do any type of A/B testing and you have platforms that pull data from your website to do that, if you're doing any type of conversion rate optimization using platforms on top of that, if you're tracking Google Analytics, that's another script. They make it light, but still, one light script versus 20 light scripts is still a lot of scripts that are pulling from the website. But to bring it home, those third party integrations piled on top of your website can cause your website to slow down. And what that does from a SEO standpoint, it penalizes you. Google, Bing, Yahoo, whoever will actually move your rankings down, or might not consider the website that you have because your website is running so slow, because their systems are consistently and constantly searching websites, scanning them, see how fast they are. If you've ever heard of Core Web Vitals or page speed scores, stuff like that, those systems are constantly scanning those. And if your website is deemed one of those types of websites that are slow, then a lot of times you'll get penalized for that. It may not be an immediate penalty, but and it may not be a direct penalty. Sometimes it would move you down the search engine rankings by the Google search system, or people would try to visit your website, browse your website, going from page to page, and their experience is bad. So they will stop visiting your website, thus indirectly affecting your search engine and SEO rankings, because more people are just leaving your website. So that's one way. And second is file and image compression. File size, image size has a major play on the user experience of your website. On the file side, I know, for example, I have a local government client here in Houston. I actually manage three of them, three different agencies, and they primarily post a lot of PDF documents. And what I do, I use a system to be able to compress those documents, to take them from like 8 to 10 megabyte files down to 1 to 2 megabytes, and even less in some cases, because that affects the user experience. Same thing for images. Different parts of the world, people's internet connections are not as strong. Here in Houston, I currently use Comcast, but some people in some of the other parts of the world might not have access to such a strong internet provider. So, you want to be mindful for the images. I will say, just as a tip, if you're adding images to your website, two things you should be mindful of. One is the actual container that a website goes into. And what I mean by that is that if there's a specific frame, in your image, maybe 2,000 pixels wide, but the frame or the container that it goes into is 600, and that's the only place that image is going into, minimize the image down to fit that frame. Because you're minimizing the size of the image by doing that, and thus, you don't have any type of performance issues. And the same thing goes for just images in general. If you have a ton of 1 and 2 megabyte images, that can add up pretty quick, but try to get them compressed down to kilobyte size if you can possibly do it. I like to say, just kind of a unspoken rule of thumb, when you're adding images to a website, if you don't remember to shrink them down based on the container they're going to be in, I would say anywhere from the max is 2,000 pixels wide, because most computer screens that most people use, laptops and desktops, don't go past that as far as resolution. Yes, you have your 30-inch monitors and all the other stuff, but most people are not using those gargantuan monitors, or multi screens, unless you're someone like myself, a creative or a developer. So just keep in mind on how big your images are for your website. Now, next up, a mistake is missing or bad website metadata. What this is referring to is the code on the back end that most people don't play with. The code on the back end that actually classifies pages and the structure of your website to be scanned and indexed by search engines. Why this is important is because whenever search engines are indexing your website, they have to look for certain key elements, and not even just search engines, but also social media too. And I'll get to that one in a second. But the search engines are looking for key elements on your website to be able to index and catalog. That's a good way of saying it. Catalog your website so it can be recommended based on the audience that's trying to find the information that you may provide. So if you don't have these specific elements in place, or they might not be set up correctly, then you're losing out on vital SEO power to be able to get in front of the audience. And some things you want to look for. So this is a checklist that I come up with for you. First and foremost is titles on pages and actual title tags. On first half of that, the title themselves, keywords, and that's keyword strength down there. It relates to the two, but in the title itself, if it makes sense, that's another thing. If you have a title on a page and if it makes sense, make sure it's optimized for the keyword that you're trying to target on that page. And then also the title tag. So if you've ever, let's see if that was on the other page. It doesn't show it in this screenshot. I was going to show you one, but on the title tags, commonly use H1 title tags. That's the main title on the page, which is usually the name of the page itself. So if you offer mental health counseling, and that's the keyword you're trying to target, H1 title tag, the keyword is mental health counseling. That's the title of the page. That's perfect, because it satisfies the criteria that a search engine would need to, one, recommend this page based on a particular keyword, and two, it has correct format, so it's telling the system that this is a quality page or website to visit. Next up would be the meta description, which is normally what you would see when you search in Google and you see like the little paragraph up under the link. That's your meta description. You want to make sure this is optimized for keywords as well, because and this is kind of a twofold chance. You want to make sure it's hitting the keywords that you're trying to target, one, and two, that it has enough of a descriptor in a concise format to tell the reader what they're about to click on. Why this is helpful, to be completely frank, a lot of people don't read. So especially when they're on Google, Yahoo, or whatever, searching for something, they're scrolling through, kind of skimming through the results. And what you are trying to do with the meta description is to capture their attention immediately and just give them enough of a snippet of information to let them know, hey, this is related to what you're looking for. And also for your benefit, you're trying to say, hey, we have the best information, solution, or content that you're looking for. Click here. That's essentially what you're trying to do. So make sure that is set up for each of the pages that are pertinent for your SEO efforts. Next up, keyword strength. Make sure you're targeting the right keywords. There's actually a tool that Google offers called Google Keyword Planner. You can go in, type in a phrase, based on what you think your audience would more than likely input in Google to search based on keywords, and they will return back and show you the volume, which is really how many times in a month, given that people would search using the search terms. They will show the one that you typed in, and then also a list of other related keywords that can help you with your SEO efforts. So you want to check, how often or kind of volume, and I didn't add that in the slides, I should have, but how often was the volume that is being searched. And there's a couple other um, columns in there. One, which would be more important to you, is the competitiveness. So if there is a low competition of, you know, people, other businesses or organizations that are in your industry, if there's a low level of competition for that particular keyword, it means you have a better chance of ranking for that keyword. So that's something you want to think of as well. And I'll make sure to add to it in the email. I'll add some information in that too to help you out. And last is the Open Graph Meta, or OG data, if you've ever seen this. This is not extremely well known, but it's seen a lot. So the Open Graph data is the data that you see whenever you go to social media and you see someone has shared a link, and the content below the image, like the title of the page and a little short description, that's open graph data is what that's referred to. It's basically the data that is being shared to social media platforms, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It's always great to have that data, that metadata set up and optimized. So when you're doing your content marketing, because from an SEO perspective, social media is actually one of the best platforms and mediums to do your SEO, organic SEO marketing. But if you have your OG metadata set up correctly, it can also help you out from an SEO perspective, because people are able to find the content on social media a lot faster. And it also makes it more relevant, because when they're viewing whatever content you're posting, they see that, okay, they're talking about something that, I may need help with, or something that interests me. Oh, they've posted a link. Oh, it looks like something that's relevant. Let me click on it. It sends them to your website. And what that does from an SEO perspective, it gives you more credibility, not only with your audience, but with search engines, because they see more and more traffic coming to your website. And it's saying that it's a credible source of information. So making sure that OG metadata is set up correctly is a good metadata checklist item that you should always check on. And here's an example to get you to understand what I'm referring to. So if you see, the top portion of this image is the actual SEO settings of a page on my website, About Us. Um, the first part, About Us, with the pipe, which is what that's called, next to my business name, Elsewhere Media Group, that's the meta title, or the SEO title. And then under that, meta description, which it has the title there. And if you look on the right, that shows an example in a mobile preview version. But this is what you would see, or are supposed to see. And then if you look at the image below, this is an actual screenshot from Google search engine that shows the same exact piece of information uh, that I was just referring to. So, making sure this is optimized, is set up correctly. So when people are searching for, and the keyword I was trying to target is Houston Web Design Agency. So if you see that my keyword is in the meta description, that's great. Now it looks like I could be violating my own rule of thumb by not having the keyword in the title, but this is one of those instances where it would make sense, because the page is an About Us page. They don't need to know it's a Houston Web Design Agency page, if that makes sense. So this is one of those cases where it would make sense to add the keyword, but I have it in my meta description, so it will help target people who type in this particular keyword, or looking for a web design agency, and it does what's called geo targeting. It targets people in the area, in the Houston area, looking for a web design agency, and it recommends my website to them. And then the title being optimized, letting them know, hey, this is a about us page to let them know, hey, this is an agency I'm looking for. This will help, tell them more about what they're looking for. So that'll give you an idea based on that checklist of what I'm referring to. And this is the OG metadata piece. So if you were to share a link, that about us link from my website onto social media, in this particular case is Facebook. If you were to share it, this is what would come up. The We Love Houston, this is a very popular tourist attraction, but will give you an idea of what the link would look like. I've optimized the description, which is basically a copy and paste, but you can make it whatever you want. Some people like to alter the descriptions because, if you can notice, on social media, you can't see a lot of that content. So it's good to kind of play with it. And that's why A/B testing is so relevant. Uh, Excuse me, but you can change the image to fit the context of the platform that you're targeting, because different audiences uses different platforms. Excuse me. LinkedIn is mainly for business, and Facebook is primarily consumer. Even though the people in charge in those businesses are on Facebook, you still want to target your audience to adjust your content to target the audience you're trying to attract. So, but the OG data, this is what it looks like. Making these changes are necessary to help out with the SEO, because then it falls on to lead generation, getting the correct people joining the website and being able to see what you provide, what problems you solve, and whatever it is they may be looking for that you offer. So, all right, moving on. Next is blocking your website. Now, this sounds crazy, but certain CMSs have the capability, I should say, to block a website from being indexed, or you're telling search engines, please do not index this website because I do not want it to be found. Now, on the surface of it, that sounds kind of strange. You want a marketing asset of yours to be found because you want your audience to take advantage of what you're providing. They want to learn more. You want them to learn more about you. But it's like, why would you ask them to do that? And there's a few reasons why you would do it, but I'll show you. Specifically in WordPress, I'm a WordPress developer, so I'm in there day in and day out. WordPress actually has a setting in there that allows you to check to discourage search engines from indexing this site. And you see it says up to search engines to honor this request. It really is, but most times it is honored. Um, but a lot of times this setting is actually missed when people are launching websites, and it primarily comes from someone who maybe DIY doing it on their own, and they don't know the nuances of launching a website, and this is a setting that could potentially be harming you. And some other CMSs have settings, or there's certain snippets of code you might need to take out. But on the flip side of that, that's kind of a thing, like, why would you want to do that? You might have a website that could be for your audience only, and you don't want it to necessarily be indexed by Google. You might have a website that's like a course. It's the front end of a course. So you're offering a course, and you don't want the front end portion of it to be indexed, or the login access of the site to be indexed. This is the reason you would turn that on. You can either do it here, or there's also ways within Google Search Console that you can deny a website from being indexed, and also code that you can add for search bots to not index your website. But on what we're trying to accomplish here, you want to make sure these type of settings are turned off, because if you run into an issue of you doing more marketing, you're emailing your list, you're posting on social media, you're going to conferences, you're going to different type of events, marketing, showing your face, and your website rankings or the traffic on your website is terrible, and you're like, what the heck could be going on? This could be a problem. You have this turned on, and as soon as you turn it off, it's not instantaneous. Let me put that out there. It's not an instantaneous thing. As soon as you turn it off, it's going to shoot your ranks up. No, SEO, first of all, is not a fast-paced game. Organic SEO takes time, but that's a great thing because you want quality on top of that. Once you have built a solid organic SEO foundation, then the fuel that you want to add on top is paid ads. But I won't get too far into that. Make sure that you have these settings turned off if you want search engines to properly index and crawl your website so you wouldn't be shooting yourself in the foot, so to speak. Moving on, another mistake is ignoring internal links. If you've ever been on a blog article, for example, and you're reading through the content and maybe just a few words within the article is hyperlinked or underlined, meaning that it's linked, then that link you click on takes you to another page, but on the same website. That's internal linking. How that benefits you from an SEO perspective is minimizing what's called a bounce rate. I don't know if you've ever looked through Google Analytics at all, but this is a metric that you want to pay attention to. The reason being is that the bounce rate tells you in so many words how long people are staying on your website after immediately getting to your website. So for you, if you have a high bounce rate, that means people are literally doing a 360 as soon as they get to your, or 180, I should say, as soon as they get to your website. They click on a link, they read whatever they're reading, maybe for 20 seconds, 10 seconds, maybe a minute, and turn right back and going somewhere else. That's not a good thing because that lets you know that people they're well, and actually you don't know what could be causing that, but it could open up the door of maybe your content's not resonating, maybe the website itself is having a problem. But if you do have a good content foundation, missing the internal links could cause you to lose out on that valuable SEO traffic. Um, because you're linking them. Let's say, for example, you have a blog article that resonates with the audience you're trying to target, and then you offer a service or a product, or there's an event coming up that's related to that article, and you tag a piece of content or a sentence to an internal link that keeps them on your website. They go through and maybe even convert and do what you want them to do, whether it's sign up for your email list, register for the event, do a fill out an application form for consulting or whatever it is, and you're keeping them on the site and they're going from piece of content to the next, to the next, to the next. Doing that type of internal linking boosts your value in search engine rankings, and it shows like Google's, Yahoo, and all of them that this is a quality website. People are actually enjoying, they're consuming the content that is on this website. Let's recommend it a lot more to the audience that they're trying to target. Some of the best practices that you want to try to hit is, again, like I mentioned a minute ago, blog and news articles. If you have blog articles, news articles, what have you, that's a perfect opportunity for internal linking. You have an article that gives them, like this, for example, this presentation. I could turn this into a blog article: 5 go to SEO mistakes to avoid and how to fix them. And in that article, maybe something related to a service specifically that I offer, which may be SEO marketing, which is something I do offer, but SEO marketing. And I have a landing page, a service landing page that's related to that particular snippet I can send them to, and that will keep them on the website a lot longer, thus reducing my bounce rate, thus increasing the value of the website. And I'm pretty sure you can see how this starts adding up. Next, product and service landing pages. Even though you target in the blog and news articles for the product and service landing pages, but within those landing pages, maybe there's a help document that you have, maybe there's a support article that has been created, maybe there's a FAQ, a related FAQ to a piece of content on the product and service landing page. That's another place that you could target. You're trying to keep people on, they've made it to, we'll start from the top to the bottom. They found your blog article, whether you posted on social media or you had a paid ad to it. They made it to their, oh man, they offer XYZ service. Let's click on this. It sends them to the product and service landing page. Oh man, this sounds interesting. What else, information I can find? Or I have an idea for a question. I wonder if there's a support. Oh, there's a support article. Let me click on that button. Oh, okay. This is great. All right. Well, I want to learn more about the company. Let's get over and go down to the last one, the about page. All right. Where's the about page? Oh, man, it's an interesting company. Then, kind of in a funnel fashion, you have now sent them down a path to want to move forward with doing whatever conversion activity you would want them to do. And naturally, sometimes from the about page is that they want to go contact you. And then if you have a CTA that shows where they can get in contact with you, bam, you got them. So that's where the internal linking, that's how that works. You're recommending relevant content to whatever piece of content that they're currently reading, and you're recommending relevant additional pieces of content that will help them get more intimately familiar with who you are, what you offer, and how you can help them. And moving on to last but not least, and I've kind of hit on this earlier, is the set it and forget it death trap. SEO is not a one-time thing. There are SEO techniques, tactics, and tasks that you can do to help add to the optimization that you need to do. But overall, SEO is not a one time thing, it's something you must continuously do over time. Reason being, algorithmic, actually, I will highlight that in here in this next one. Um, let me start here first. So algorithmic changes. So Google's algorithm that nobody knows changes frequently. Same thing for other search engines, and you want to make sure you're optimizing your website for that. Website software is constantly updating. Software is an ever evolving thing. So with those changes in technology, you want to make sure your website is updated. And then once you update your website, you want to make sure that elements of your website are corresponding with the updates for SEO changes. And then also just overall content, your content changes. You might have articles that need to be refreshed. Your idea of what our target audience you may be hitting may change over time, and you need to adjust your content. So you want to make sure you're landing in that particular realm of the new audience you're trying to attract. And just quite naturally, competition, just plainly put, even as a nonprofit, you have competitors, people in your industry that are trying to serve the same type of people or the same clients that you are trying to serve. So they're constantly putting out, content to help boost their SEO value. And it's a competition. I mean, it just plainly put, it's a competition. So you want to make sure you're constantly on top of those type of things to help you out. Now, some things, some to dos and not to dos. I put together this list to kind of help uh, tell you some things that you should be doing and what you should stop doing to prevent you from wasting time and money. First, the not to do, stop marketing. So what I mean by this is just stop blindly going out and doing marketing. You have to be strategic about it. You don't want to, there's a difference between productivity and busy. You don't want to be busy. So that's where this stop marketing to do, not to do comes into play. But to do, set up marketing automations. Um, I've done a workshop a while back about how to set up a kind of a content automation machine using WordPress and some free tools. Set those things up. So as soon as you hit publish on your blog, your article is blasted out to all your social media. So that's one less step of things that you have to take care of. Setting up those type of automations can help you out save time and money because you're not wasting your efforts on, I published this article. Okay, now I need to format some social media content to put it here. Da, 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 da. You set up the automations so it would cut down on the additional extra legwork that you have to take care of. The next not to do is not emailing your audience or newsletter. You have an audience. You have people who are dependent upon you to learn more about what you offer and also the problem that they have, how you can help them solve that problem. So not staying in constant contact with your audience is tough. You don't want to do that because you are falling out of the vision of being the go-to for solving the type of problems that they have. Excuse me. Emailing your audience can help you stay top of mind, not even for just that particular person, but also people in their network, in their circle. There could be times there's a conversation come up, hey, I'm looking to do XYZ. Oh man, yeah, I know, I got this person that can do that and they can help you out with it. Here's their contact information or here's their website. They can go to your website and get to find out, how you can help them, et cetera, et cetera. But what you should do is repurpose content. This sounds like a very tough task and it can be challenging. And I have done content writing workshops about this, but repurposing your content. One way, just as a tip, one way you can do this, look at your analytics. Go to Google. Please track your analytics. Please do that. Go to your analytics, find out what's a top performing page or blog article on your website. Take that specifically, I'll say blog article because it'll be a lot easier. And if you have a blog article and it has a few points in there, take one of those points and create a whole nother article, create a podcast episode, create a workshop presentation like I'm doing here, or social media posts. That's repurposing content. You're taking something existing, pulling out the value that's in it and repurposing it into more value that you can provide to your audience. Um, that doing that can help you out with writer's block. I'm guilty of it. I've had it so many times, and it also can save you time. I mean, heck, Chat GPT is out. AI is here. Take one of those articles, take a snippet out of it, plug it into Chat GPT, and tell it to generate me a list of blog titles or presentation title, whatever you want to do, and email, draft a newsletter for the day and go in and tweak the newsletter or whatever piece of content you got and repurpose it and publish it back out to the wild. That can help you out. And then the last not to do is refreshing your website. In my 10 plus years, one of the most common missteps, because I'm not going to say it's a problem, but it's a misstep that many people do when it comes to rebranding or refreshing any type of branding, in this case, a website, is they want to do what they feel works best for their audience. And that is the worst thing that you can do. Because one, and this is, I keep it really just at this point, the biggest problem with that is you're not your own customer. So you don't know what your customers want if you're not listening to them. So the best way to solve this is A/B testing. And that was three options. I'm going to start with the first. A/B testing. Set up alternate pieces of content. Maybe it's a landing page for an ebook. Same ebook, landing page in two different formats. See which one works well. Pick the one that works well, tweak it even more. That's what's called A/B testing. So you tested page A, tested page B. B works well, use page B. Now let's A/B test this page. All right, this headline works well, or this headline's not. Okay, let's tweak that headline. Okay, that works well. All right, so we're going to get rid of the one that's not working. Da 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 da. You keep going and keep going and keep going. And one of the best ways to help you out with those type of testing is the next option is heat maps. I don't think, no, I did add that in there. I was going to show you a picture of what a heat map looks like, but heat maps are like a colorful graph, which is shows the page that you're targeting, and it shows you in a way based on red, green, blue. How many people are clicking on certain elements of your website, or above and below the fold is what they call, which is in simpler terms how far down the page they're going. So at the point of where it drops, that's below the fold, and the most actively viewed part is the above the fold. But using heat maps is a tool to help you out with doing that. And last but not least, UX research, user experience research. Talk to your audience, send out a poll, feedback, ask for feedback from your existing audience. FAQs, people could be telling you, hey, we keep trying to sign up for XYZ and the form is not working. Well, you need to fix that. That's user experience. That experience is not well. And in today's time, based on research, people are not prone to want to give the feedback. They'll just simply leave the website. I think it's like within the first 8 to 10 seconds of them landing your website, if they're not able to accomplish what they're looking for, they'll leave. And that's a very short amount of time. So you want to make sure you're listening to your audience, listening to your users, and getting the feedback from them to know how well your website is performing. And the more you improve on the user experience, the better your SEO chances are, and the more valuable your website becomes. All right. So the fun part of the presentation is I'm going to open the floor up for some Q&A. So any questions you have, drop them in the chat. I am here to help you, kind of like an AMA. Ask me anything SEO related or digital marketing or marketing period related. I'm here to help you out in this moment. So we'll reserve. We got about 15 more minutes. We'll probably reserve about another 10 minutes for questions. So any questions, no matter what it is, drop it in. No questions too crazy. I know sometimes you have to give people some time to type. So, all right. What is your go-to web host provider? Great question. So, and to go back on the performance piece of the SEO, this also um, makes or break your SEO too, because your your web host provider, if it sucks, just plainly put, if it sucks, it's gonna take a hit. You're gonna take a big hit. But to answer your question, my go-to web host provider is dependent upon two things. First, what I'm trying to do, and two, the support that they provide. In my experience, there have been two web host providers. I've tried a lot, but the two web host providers that I love for separate reasons. The first is called InMotion Hosting. I'll drop their name and URL in here too. InMotion Hosting. Since I've been in my career, which is over 10 years, it's probably close to 13 now. They have been my host. I've had them the entire time. Their support is great. Their platform is great. They have a myriad of hosting options that, in my opinion, are very affordable. And I'm also a proponent. You get what you pay for. So, if you are looking for cheap, you're going to get cheap. And if you're looking to spend on quality, you're going to get quality. And in my opinion, they have been one of the best quality hosts. They're extremely flexible. They provide your what they call shared hosting, which is the cheapest hosting. Even their shared hosting is very good quality. When I started out, I hosted like 4 websites on a shared plan, and it worked well. And then eventually I had to move up to a virtual private server, which is what I have now, and it's worked wonders. But their support's 24/7, 365. All of their support team is great. I've met one of the founders personally at a WordPress conference. I've met one of the founders of InMotion Hosting. Good guy, very funny guy too. But great host. InMotion is great. And my second favorite is Kinsta. I'll drop that one in there too. You've probably seen this one a few times because it's a pretty popular um, WordPress related hosting. And but of the managed was what they called, or dedicated WordPress host, Kinsta is my personal favorite. Their support 24/7 and has been unmatched. Their entire team is extremely knowledgeable. The performance of their platform, because they have Cloudflare integration, which is what's called a CDN, and I won't go too technical, but basically it helps provide a faster experience for your end users of your website. But they have been phenomenal. Kinsta has been great. Any questions I've come to them, they even have been great about, we don't know the answer just yet, but let me collaborate with some of our senior, members, and we'll figure out an answer. And they've come back and, helped me solve some problems. So extremely great, but those 2 are my personal favorite. InMotion hosting, if you wanna go with a cheaper starter hosting package for just a basic website, and they also provide hosted email if you want to use that too. And then for me as a developer, I have a lot of technical needs sometimes, and they are more flexible because they don't have a closed system platform, which is not a bad idea. But from that perspective, that's why I love them. But Kinsta, when I want to look for a dedicated WordPress hosting platform, Kinsta is my personal favorite. Extremely flexible, developer friendly, and they have a local environment tool called Dev Kinsta if you want to work on your websites locally on your computer and stuff like that. You probably don't, but yes, those are my 2 favorite. Great question though, but having a good host is also key to your SEO efforts, because honestly, if your host sucks, your website will hurt. And if your website is taking a hit because your hosting is trash, then people are not going to want to visit your website. I've had to actually, I service B2B clients, and one of my B2B clients has a global 24/7 operation for skincare, and their website is primarily how they transact and do business. And I've had to move their hosting from another platform before they were with me to where they are now, Kinsta, and no problems, no downtime, minimal slowdown. We've had to bump their resources up a little bit because they're starting to get more and more traffic. Because again, the user experience, the word of mouth got out there. Hey, the website's better, it's da 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 da, and now it's faster, and they're getting more and more traffic year over year. So, but to answer your question, those 2, InMotion Hosting, Kinsta, are my 2 personal favorite web hosting providers. Great question though. Any more? E-commerce, nice. So I'm torn. I did a podcast episode about this, and also I have a blog article about this. I'm torn between 2, Shopify and WooCommerce. Now, back to my B2B client. So this is a perfect example of this. Um, WooCommerce, which is the WordPress plugin that provides e-commerce capabilities. I've built multiple stores using that one. That one is the most flexible option ever. You can integrate it with a lot of different systems. For bigger clients that have a lot of e-commerce needs, it works great. It works perfectly great. It is a lot of work to manage. I'm going to be honest about that. If you don't have someone on your team that is technically inclined and highly preferably, has experience setting up and managing a WooCommerce store, you're in for a challenge. But I love it because also you have ownership. You own the entire thing. So once you install the plugin, set the store up, nobody can take it away from you. It can be a little bit of a challenge trying to set things up, but once you get it up and running, it works well. And that's what happened with my current B2B client. They had a provider set it up. They didn't do that great of a job. I came in, turned some things around, and it's worked well. Now to segment over to Shopify, I love Shopify's platform. It's clean, crisp, dedicated. I'm usually a more proponent of open source, which you have the ownership, which is what WordPress and WooCommerce is. Excuse me. Shopify is not. So that ownership piece is maybe a con, but in my experience, Shopify support has been great. And we're actually working to move that client over to Shopify because their site has grown so much and it's so much more to handle. Shopify is a better option because they have more streamlined integrations that matches the needs of that client. But some of the other clients I work with, WooCommerce works better. But I love Shopify. Very clean, very easy to set up, very easy to manage because they take care of the hosting, the support, the software and all of that stuff. It's pretty much managed in house by Shopify. So that's a great element to have. So if you don't have someone in house that has technical expertise, it's easier for smaller teams without that expertise to be able to set up a Shopify store. Now, I will say there are some nuances of setting up a Shopify store, your taxes, your shipping, setting up your integrations with like email marketing and all that stuff. It's a little bit of a challenge to get started there. But again, they have a lot of dedicated resources, their own like help articles and stuff like that that you can browse through. They're pretty easy to read through to help you out with getting those type of things taken care of. But those are my two favorite: WooCommerce and Shopify. I love them both for different reasons, and I usually recommend those two. Well, I do recommend those two, and I make help people make a decision based on what their needs are. So, but good question though. Great question. You have great questions. Any more? I think we have room for maybe one or two more questions. Okay. So I assume that is it. No other questions? My pleasure, Mary. All right. Well, good. It's been a pleasure. It's been fun. I love doing these things. Stay tuned for more after the new year. We want to take a break to enjoy the holiday season and get some rest and relaxation and recharge for the new year. But I thank you all for attending. That's my website, www.elsqrd.com. L Squared Media Group is the name of my business. Feel free, go on the website, check out what I do, the work I've done. And there's my email. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. If you haven't realized, I'm an open book of information. So I love helping people. But anytime you have any questions, I'm willing to talk and help you out. If we have to jump on a quick call, I can spare about 10 to 15 minutes because I'm usually back and forth between things. But I thank you for coming. I hope you got all of the insight that you could. Stay tuned to your email by the end of the day, today, in the next few hours, I should say. I'm gonna send out the recording for today's presentation and a copy of the slides, and also I'll send you a Google spreadsheet. That'll have a lot of the tools that I'll recommend. I'll add that in there too. A lot of tools that I recommended throughout the presentation to help you out along your journey. So, again, thank you, thank you, thank you. I hope you have a safe, fun, relaxing, loving, warming, stuff in your face. I love cigars, so I'm gonna have me a cigar or two. Enjoyable holiday season. Take care of your family, take care of yourself, and get your rest as much as possible. Have fun and have a good rest of your day.